So, good evening. I'm excited to share a first look at two upcoming installations representing the Department of Medieval Art and the Cloisters. So one will be here in the main Met building and one uptown in Fort Tryon Park. Both projects will be on view starting in spring 2025. And together they represent an opportunity to revisit sculptures that have been in the collection for quite some time and see them in a new light. So we'll start here with the Medieval Sculpture Hall, which you see now on the screen as it appears today, with the monumental Virgin and Child alone in the center and all of our other statues pushed up against the pillars and walls. So here's your special preview. This is our new town square concept, for which we've chosen 10 statues that will form a group in the center of the hall. All 10 represent saints, but they come from a time when Northern European artists were deliberately modeling saints after contemporary people. In the 15th century, the idea was that dressing up sacred people as modern, even fashionable, would make them more relevant. The statues intentionally blur the lines between the heavenly realm of the saints and the everyday world of medieval people. Each one is a character. Some are rich, some are poor, some are young, some old. One of them even has male pattern balding. The fresh installation will encourage visitors to walk among the statues and encounter them not just as saints, but also as people that you might have met in Paris or Cologne or any other thriving city in the late Middle Ages. So here's a closer look at two of our characters from the town square. To prepare the sculptures for the spotlight, they're receiving conservation treatment from Lucretia Cargère, who is our lead conservator for the medieval collection. The smaller photos on the left were taken before treatment, and in the larger photos, you can see that a lot of dirt and oil has been removed, especially from the noses, the cheeks, and the fancy hats, so you can better appreciate the finely carved details. Both of these sculptures have belonged to the Met for over 100 years, and yet they've never received this kind of attention before. The faces also demonstrate what I mean about statues representing saints as everyday people. So we see Mary Magdalene not only as a figure from the Bible, but also as a rich woman with extravagant jewelry. And on the right is Saint Bavo, who takes on the form of a contemporary soldier. Both Mary Magdalene and Bavo were understood as having lived rather disreputable lives until they were transformed by faith. And so the statues portray them not as idealizations, but instead as flawed individuals ready for spiritual transformation. So the fancy hats and expensive clothes, which were very fashionable, appealed to medieval people because they were relatable, suggesting that even if you might spend a little too much money on your wardrobe, it's never too late for redemption. So here's another view of the new town square. And as you can see, we're leaving plenty of space for the Christmas tree, which will be there during the holiday season. The Virgin and Child, who's a much loved highlight, will also remain in the space, but we're gonna shift her back towards the Lehman wing, and then she'll be able to shift again seasonally to accommodate the tree. But what we're gonna do now is make better use of the space as a whole and create an opportunity to see the sculptures and engage them in new ways. So I want to share one more sculpture that will be featured in the town square. This is Saint Roch, who's described in medieval accounts as a pilgrim who was afflicted with the plague, who had prominent plague sores on his legs, and who relied on his faithful dog to deliver his daily bread. While Bavo and Magdalene appear as wealthy members of the new urban elite of the late Middle Ages, Roch represents a different type. He's the weary traveler who suffers from disease and is forced to rely upon what we might now call a service animal to get through the day. One key aspect of the town square is that it leverages the collection to encompass a range of human experiences, not only the citizen, but also the migrant, not only the most powerful members of society, but also the most vulnerable. I want to pause here and emphasize that the Department of Medieval Art and the Cloisters is one department in two locations. This is true not only of our staff, but also the collection itself. St. Roch was bought in 1925 as one of the foundational works of the Cloisters collection. But because he adds such an important dimension to the town square, we've made the decision to bring him downtown to Met Fifth, where he can be seen in a new context. Of course, the roads that connect the Met and the Met Cloisters run in both directions. So while we're bringing some of our sculptures down to Fifth Avenue, we're also sending some up to Fort Tryon Park, where they will form part of the second project that I wish to highlight. And my favorite of the ones that are migrating from downtown to the Cloisters is this holy woman from the 14th century, made with a stunning combination of black and white marble. This is a very beautiful technique that is not often seen, especially in museum contexts. Like St. Roch, this sculpture was bought from the artist and dealer George Grey Barnard in 1925, and we look forward to including her in a special installation celebrating the 100-year anniversary of this acquisition that formed the cornerstone of the Cloisters collection. So, the Cloisters opened to the public in its present form in 1938. But it first began as a very different structure that Barnard had built in a different part of Washington Heights over 20 years earlier. The photo you see here is Barnard's original Cloisters, and in the upper right corner is Barnard himself. It was John D. Rockefeller Jr. in the photo on the lower right who paid not only for the acquisition of Barnard's Cloisters, but also the work that followed, which transformed Barnard's building into the structure that we know today. So I just want to conclude by inviting you to come to the Cloisters next spring and summer, where our new installation marking the centennial of the Barnard acquisition will be on view starting in April. And this will be an opportunity to explore how architectural ensembles like the Saint-Guillaume Cloister came to New York from Europe and took on their current form. And we'll also be taking a fresh look at some of the gems of the 1925 acquisition, like the Holy Woman that I showed you a moment ago, and also this charming architectural block with a lion that you see on the right. So like the town square, this will be an opportunity to revisit works that have been in the collection for a long time, but have not always received the attention that they deserve. And we look forward to sharing them with you soon. Thank you.